Right, guys, welcome back to the channel and to another episode of Your Armies on Parade. It has recently been Armies on Parade, and I, of course, do promise to deliver. I've got Mr. Carl Duff with me and his Genestealer Cult Army. So, Carl, welcome to the channel.
Hey, thank you, Harry. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Not a problem. Now, I was scrolling through the Genestealer Cult group and on Facebook, and the first thing that stood out to me was the green VATs on your Armies on Parade board. And congratulations, by the way, you actually won gold,
Thank you. Yeah.
which is phenomenal. And when you look at the board, I was just taken aback by it straight away. You've done some phenomenal work on this.
Thank you very much. I'm just glad people liked it. That was such a lot. That was so much work over the last couple months. So I'm just relieved that people enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from? Where do you game? How long have you been gaming?
All right. Well, I'm thinking I probably started as far back as 11. I think it was about 11 years old. My friend in middle school turned me on to 40K at the time, and yeah, I found a box of Necrons, and it was love at first sight. And here I am now. I'm like 25. So yeah, it's been 14 years.
Excellent,
But
excellent.
yeah, and I
Look, going back, I can probably draw lines back to I think 20 years ago. Before Necrons were a thing, is when I started originally playing, and of course, a lot of people seem to fall out of love with the hobby as they kind of grow into a teenager, and then come back to it later in life,
mhm.
which is certainly where I did. So,
I think
sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, I was just for me, I think it kind of kept going. I really only kind of took a break from it probably around like 17 or 18. Like for me, it just I when I got in on 11, that was just I kept painting and collecting the entire time. I was hooked on it.
Excellent. So whereabouts are you from? Where do you game? How often do you game? And what type of games do you prefer playing?
Well, I definitely prefer playing sort of smaller skirmish-based stuff right now. Kill Team, Shadow War, Armageddon, Necromunda. So I just kind of like the smaller scale action and kind of room for developing characters because when you spend as much time painting these models, especially when like you're looking at Gene Stealer cults, when in a normal game these guys can die in droves, you don't really want to see those models you spent so much time working on just vaporize in single turn. And Kill Team kind of lets you extend that lifespan just a little bit. But
Yeah.
I currently play a couple different game clubs. Actually, I'm kind of nestled in the Twin Cities area in Minnesota currently, and we've got a couple places. We got Level Up Games, we've got Source. They're all close by. So, oh, even Fantasy Flight Game Center actually. So yeah, I have a couple choices at my disposal to go out and play whatever I want during the week. It's really cool.
Excellent. So plenty of choices.
Absolutely.
So what drew you to Gene Stealer Cult and what inspired you to do this Armies on Parade board? I'm looking through the photos now, and some of the detail that you've gone into is fantastic. Not only are your models really heavily converted, obviously, the VATs look amazing. I mean, you've got small ones running all the way along the back. There's posters detailing what they are. Um, what inspired you to do this board?
Well, basically, that I can answer both of those with the same answer: Space Hulk. I got into the game Space Hulk back in 2014 when I started college because we had a mandatory MacBook for our classes, and I wanted a game for it. And I found the Space Hulk adaptation, and I fell in love with it almost immediately. And so I played that for a couple of years, and then fast forward 2 years, the Gene Stealer cult resurfaces with the Death Watch box set, and my first thought was, oh, I really want to get some of those aberrants and like make some house rules for using them in my Space Hulk board game. And that just began to quickly grow from there. I got a box of the Neophytes for my birthday, and then that started growing. Shadow War Armageddon came out, so it just started off real small. It was just I want to get a couple extra things to play with Space Hulk, and then as time went on, that grew into a Kill Team, and then that grew into an Armies on Parade board, which in itself is supposed to be kind of a Space Hulk.
Yeah, Absolutely fantastic. For example, even the big pink poster in the middle. I mean, is that printed or did you paint that?
It's not painted. It is printed. I have it. I had a couple of things working for me there because I have Photoshop, so I'm able to kind of make most of these. And I've just printed them out in basic paper with a basic printer, and just cut them up that way. Yeah, it's just mostly Games Workshop related art, but a couple other things too. Some like stock kind of public domain imagery, like the skull measurement and stuff. But use some brushes to make it look like paint. Use some different text fonts. A lot of work went into those, and it just kind of happened on a whim.
And it's really paid off. It looks phenomenal. What did you actually do to make the green goop in the vats? I mean, the biggest one in the center. Correct me if I'm wrong. One at the front's got an old metal zoanthrope in, and I think the big one is that a Turvagon.
You would be correct. Well, pretty close. It's not actually a Turvagon, but it's modeled from the Turvagon kit.
Yeah.
But I mean, the green goo question I have been getting whenever I post it anywhere. That's like the first question I get, and I get a lot of it. But letting everyone know out there, it's really easy to do. It's just clear Elmer's glue and food dye mixed together. You can make it red, you can make it blue. If you can find a food dye and you can get some clear Elmer's glue, you can make whatever colored goo you wanted. And
for people in the UK, Elmer's glue is PVA glue, and interestingly enough,
right.
I actually picked some up. And for people in the UK, you can get it in the Works, the shop called the Works. It's £3 for a litre bottle, so it's not even badly priced.
Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, like in my case, the sheer amount of it I had to use for that really large one, it's like,
yeah,
it actually started off really cheap. So like, if you ever want to do like just like the smaller bottles, it's actually really inexpensive to pull off. But once you start having to fill a like gallon-sized acrylic paint bucket full of the stuff, suddenly you're having to buy like 2 gallons, and that quickly begins to add up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's just a whole bunch of Elmer's PVA glue, and then it's the Turvagon kit. I basically just sort of reassembled it. There wasn't really a whole lot of heavy converting going on. I just attached the tail kind of leg segment to where the part where normally the head goes, and then I made a head out of the weapon parts and attached that to where normally the tail would go.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you've ever played the video game Super Metroid.
Oh, do you see it? My girlfriend said the exact same thing. She was like, oh, it reminds me of... And I think I might even remember that. That was like the opening level, right? Where there's like the creature in the vat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's what she was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it looks absolutely phenomenal. But not just the scene itself, though. Looking through all of your models, each one of these looks heavily converted. I mean, the guy with the heavy stubbers, correct me if I'm wrong, but are they Arborants that you've used?
Yes, they are.
And one of the heavy stubbers, is that an orc gun? I can't remember the name of it, but it looks like an orc gun.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
And the acolytes that you've got with Stormcast heads?
Yeah, well, actually, it's even more specific than that. It's not even a Stormcast. They are a minced up mix.
No. The Sanguinary Guard heads.
Yes.
No.
There's some Sanguinary Guard heads, and some of them I even cut the Sanguinary Guard faces off and put Eldar Harlequin masks on them instead.
Wow. And I noticed one of them's actually got a Rack mask on from the Dark Eldar kit.
Yep.
I'm also looking at the acolytes here as well. The guy in the middle is the Abominant, but you've given him a chainsaw from an Orc kit.
Yeah, actually, if you're thinking of the one that has the like really big chainsaw arm, he's not even supposed to be the Aberrant, or well, no, not the Aberrant, the Abominant. I get their names mixed up all the time. But yeah, he can be either an Aberrant or an Acolyte. But yes, it's from the I think it's... Actually, no, it's a... I did it so long ago, I'm getting them mixed up now. It was actually a Orc Knob chain weapon.
Right.
Like one of their big heavy choppas, and it was cut up and mixed with a cyborg arm.
Wow. And then the guy that you've got with that, like, it's like a glaive or baton, but you've done... you've used 2 chainswords and put them back to back.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Some of this stuff is amazing, man. But even looking at your neophytes, for example, it's hard to tell what some of them are, but is there some Poxwalkers mixed in there as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of Poxwalkers, and there's just I sometimes forget there's so much going on with each model.
There's I see some Skitarii robed heads.
Yeah, there
think.
were, I think, a couple. There are definitely a couple robed heads. One actually is lifted from the Chaos Cultists. Like, there's a mix of Poxwalkers, Chaos Cultists. Even more than that, we also have the Crypt Ghouls. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, actually,
there's
there's some Crypt Ghouls crawling along the ground there I can see as well. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it's like really, I just whatever I can find in my bits bin, I just can look at it. And what can I do with this?
You've also got a squad of more normal-looking humans. I presume these are like veterans.
Yeah, like Trader Guardsmen.
Yeah, and of course the Ogryn behind, but he's got a Gene Stealer-esque head and a Tyranid Warrior Rending Claw.
Yes, he's got a Tyranid Warrior Rending Claw. The head was green stuffed. Well, I mean, not the entire head, but like the obvious, like the bulbous head in the back, the crest, all that.
Really, really nice work. And you know what? You've put together a phenomenal army. I know you prefer skirmish games and everything, but this just looks absolutely amazing on that display mode. So absolutely hats off to you, man. This is fantastic.
Thanks, man. It's like 2 years in the making. I think that's just been slowly growing over 2 years. Like, this was something that just was like, the Armies on Parade was an opportunity where I was like, I've actually accumulated a lot of these guys in the last year. Maybe I can actually make an army and put it out there.
And just for the guys that have seen the Hobbit troll, that's a count as Carnifex, isn't it?
Yes, and honestly, that was not even in the plan originally. I just saw the Troll Brute model and thought that would make a really cool looking, messed up, just a hybrid monster creature. And only later on I kind of thought, I could probably use this as Carnifex. And my first thought was just, that's a cool model. Yeah. I want to use that.
Yeah. So what drew you to painting the skin a very, very intense pink? What was your inspiration behind that?
Oh, this is always a fun one to tell, but actually, the short version of it is I used to work at a kitchen for a while, and we had these rotisseries, and you would have to constantly fill them with chicken, which meant I was handling raw chicken at least 2-3 times a day. And when you spend that much time looking at disgusting raw uncooked chicken, you put this idea together, and that's where this creepy kind of like pinkish skin texture came from. Just like these little subtle yellows, these reds, these flushed areas, just nasty raw chicken.
That's incredibly grim.
Yeah, I know. I was like, if I'm gonna keep looking at these, I gotta find like something to come out of this.
So, out of the models that you've got on your Armies on Parade board, or the pictures that were shown, which one is your personal favorite model?
Oh, of my personal favorite models amongst the armors, oh man, that is so hard because the amount of work that went into each of them, I have an attachment to each of them. But if I really had to be picky about it, I really like the original Neophyte squad leader I made for Shadow War Armageddon, where I don't know if I have a direct picture of it on there, but he's sort of like a mix of a Gene Stealer body, bloodletter legs. He has this mask on. He's got like one outstretched claw. He's got sort of a banner on his back. I think it's probably a toss-up between him or this one Neophyte where he has the Chaos Cultist gas mask head and has a Demonette leg. They're all my babies. I can't really pick just one. It feels cruel to exclude other ones.
Yeah.
But that said, I also really love the Aberrants. I think, no, I actually just answered my own question. My favorite by far are my those Aberrant Gunners with the orc bits, with the 2 heavy machine, like the stubbers.
Yeah.
Those were, because I mean that was back when you could only get the Aberrants from the Deathwatch box set. And they were really, really rare, and you can only get them like secondhand, otherwise buy the whole box. And I got them as a gift, and I was like, I got to do something really, really nice with these guys. So I think that was really where my super heavy conversions began, and yeah, those two are my favorites.
Awesome, awesome. So when you're building and you're painting and you're hobbying and stuff, what do you like watching or listening to in the background?
Oh man, that can be that the amount of time that I've been working on these things, that can just vary so much. But I think when I really want to get into the right mood, I like listening to like video game soundtracks, like really kind of like horror based ones, like the soundtrack from Bloodborne, where it's just this even mix of sort of like that kind of religious style music, but also very horrific because it kind of matches sort of the theme with the Gene Stealer cults. Just the kind of thing that gets you kind of in the right mood to make these horrific looking monsters.
Yeah.
But I mean, that being said, there were other times where I was just watching old episodes of MST3K, Mystery Science Theater 3000, just having those kind of back to back, working on the models. It can be a little bit anything and everything, but it always comes back to horror in some degree.
Very cool. So, most people tend to lean towards one area of the hobby, okay? Do you consider yourself a painter, a collector, or a gamer primarily?
I would probably say painter, because over the years, I definitely played a lot more when I was younger. I kind of played more like through 4 through 6 and then took a hiatus. But I kind of found time and time again, I would spend a lot of time collecting an army or even trying to paint it, like again, like with my Necrons. And that was like right when 4th edition hit and they got nerfed hard, and just coming in and just getting steamrolled, especially as a kid who had no idea what I was doing. So it just became this idea of, well, you know what? If I'm going to lose, I want to at least be the best looking loser I can be when it happens.
Yeah.
And I think over time, I'm definitely first and foremost a converter and a painter now, but I do want to get back into the game full fledged.
Yeah, I think you've definitely got an army that a lot of people would enjoy playing against, even just for looks. And as it stands with the Index, obviously we are the last army, other than Sisters of Battle, of course, to get a Codex.
Right.
But of course, rumours are that it's hopefully going to be before Christmas. So fingers crossed for both of us, because I want a Codex for my army as well.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too. I didn't really think it beforehand, but now that I finally have this finished Armies on Parade, I'm sitting there thinking I really would want to kind of try an actual game of 40k of this with all this out in the field at once, not just a handful of 10 guys.
Yeah. So, I know you're not as big a 40k, you prefer using Kill Team and stuff, but what are some of your favourite stratagems or combos of models that you like to pull off in Kill Team or 40k?
Well, and let's see. You can kind of break my experiences of Kill Team down to both Shadow War Armageddon and the new Kill Team. But right. I would say, kind of since Kill Team is the most up to snuff one right now, that's the one that you get a lot more flexibility because you can pick those different kinds of models, because in SWA you only had the Neophytes. And I love being able to use both Aberrants and Gene Stealers in the new Kill Team. And just being able to have like 1 or 2 Aberrants get kind of delivered into combat against my friends, the Primaris Marines, and just be able to use Frenzied Hammering and just watch him panic as this slow giant monster lumbers its way into combat because he's been trying to fight off the Gene Stealers for like a turn or two before that. And it's just every time he knows it's coming too, is that the Neophytes just kind of hold ground and just keep him behind cover, but the Gene Stealers get in, and next thing you know, it's just, can you kill the Gene Stealers before the Aberrants show up?
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very cool. Do you have any sort of like victory stories or feats from any particular characters or leaders or anything? Is there something that one of them's done and you just thought, that's just so cool?
Well, honestly, in Kill Team, not as much, because generally the Gene Stealers, they're glass cannons, if you want to put it like that. They're pretty brittle. They don't live very long. But I have a story back from, was it 4th or 5th edition? I forget. But I had a Tau army at the time, and I don't remember the full story because I think I was like 16 or 17 at the time. But I just remember I had a Tau battlesuit get charged by Abaddon Abaddon is a spoiler, and somehow just the world's worst dice. I should have died immediately, but somehow my Tau crisis suit did not die from Abaddon's charge. They stayed in combat for 2 rounds, and then eventually the crisis suit killed Abaddon.
Wow.
It it was the goofiest. That's what I like about 40K. Weird, goofy, nonsense stories like that, and that's one that just has stuck with me even through the years, where that's still my best story, no matter how many games of Kill Team I've played. The thing that was never supposed to happen, that happened.
Yeah. I do like when things like that happen. For example, two of my Patreons, Ian and Stephen, were playing the other day. And Ian charged his Nurgle Gallant Knight that he's got straight towards a Hammerhead. Stephen was playing Tau Sept, so he was overwatching on 5s. And everything else around him just opened up. And the rail rifle did 9 wounds to this knight on Overwatch and blew it up.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't really play 40K or in it competitively. I like to play for the stories and just weird, absurd things like that. And just, that's what makes 40K to me. It's the absurd moments.
And of course, the narrative campaign that I'm currently filming between Genestealer Cult, Deathwatch, and Harlequins is being filmed. We've done the first mission already, and you are going to love it because it's against the Genestealer Cult guard that I've got.
Awesome.
And my God, some of the dice rolls were unbelievable. You couldn't write some of the stuff that happened in that game. So it's still going to be a few months away, of course, because we don't know when the Codex is going to be dropping. But that is something that we're putting heavy narrative focus on for you guys. A little bit something different.
I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. So, what's next for your army? If you do expand this, you said yourself there that it's making you inspired to want to play a game of 40K with it. What would you like to add to the army?
Definitely some more just Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum units. I want to really expand on that part because I think sort of on its own, outside of a couple of really specific units like the Aberrants, the Genestealer Cult doesn't really have it doesn't have a lot of endurance, but those tanks that the Guard have, I want to commandeer some of those for the Four-Armed Emperor. And I'm already thinking of like the idea of having if I do another board next year, I really want to have what's it called? Not the normal Baneblade, but the one that's got like a transport capacity, has like the Vulcan cannon on the front.
Stormhammer?
I forget exactly what it's called, like Stormlord, I think, something like that. Not sure.
I think so.
I want one of those, and just like it just has a bunch of Genestealers just clamoring out of the back, and it's just like pulling down an Imperial statue or something.
That would
like
be awesome.
That's like my set piece for the next year. It's like that's what I want to do. I want to get a Baneblade. I want to get just some tanks, and I mean that's what I think is so cool about the Genestealer Cult is that like you can not only have like Tyranids, but you can just have like the Guard. You can have all these different things, and there's just the amount of conversion possibilities endless.
Yep.
I'm so excited.
I mean, look at my conversions. I absolutely love doing them.
It's
so
wild.
Different.
I love stuff like that, and just you can get really weird and really creepy with it in a way that just I think that's Tau notwithstanding. I always really enjoy the creepy 40K factions like Necrons and just these monsters. I love doing stuff like that.
Absolutely. If you like Baneblades, you're going to love next week's battle report because Ali decided to bring 3 Baneblades against me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to it.
And he loves his tanks, like, a lot. So that's something else to look forward to. Listen, I've got another pretty big question for you. Now, you've obviously mentioned there that you've had Tau and Necrons before. But if money was no question, and you could walk into Games Workshop and walk out with whatever army you wanted and whatever models you wanted for that army, what would you walk out with and why?
Oh man. In a perfect world, it'd be some Tomb Kings.
Yes.
In a perfect world, I could walk out of there with a pile of Tomb Kings because I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah,
But I mean,
I never got into fantasy until Age of Sigmar like 2 years ago.
yeah,
Lucy had a go of it actually, my partner, and she wanted to play it more than me. I had demons, but and my friend was like, "Oh, just bring your demons, you'd never go." She played it and she was like, "I love this. It's so easy and cool," and that's how I've ended up getting into fantasy. I'm aware of older fantasy, but I never really played it. So Tomb Kings have always been this kind of, they're there, but nobody really talks about them.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I was obviously the same thing. I was too late for fantasy, but Total Warhammer 2 came along and they had the Tomb Kings expansion, and oh man, I want those guys so much.
I need to play Total Warhammer. I've got it on the Xbox. I need to go and play it.
Dude, it's so good.
But I'm fortunate enough that we're not. I say we're not too far from Warhammer World. It's a 3-hour drive, but I make regular visits. And in the display cabinets, when you see the big scorpions, or you see the Sphinx-looking ones with like the bladed sides on,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, the War Sphinx.
so cool.
They're such gorgeous models. Oh, what I would do to get a crack at some of those. Oh man. But I mean, I guess since they're not actually in production right now, if I had to pick another one, I'd really probably I don't think it'd be a set army. I think I'd just keep collecting as many different kinds of kits for their bits.
Yeah.
I want to keep amassing bits for more conversions. Or I guess failing that, part of me wants to almost say I want to do like a Lamenters army. I almost want to do some like Space Marine Lamenters. I always really like those guys.
Very, very cool. You're saying there obviously about bits. It's very interesting as well that like you could have a Skitarii sprue, you could have a Genestealer Cult Neophyte sprue, you can have some Guard sprues, probably cultists, and I've probably missed other ones off here. And you could just smash the entire kits together, chop all the bits up, chuck them in a box, and just build some guys.
Oh, absolutely can. That's what I love about them so much, and I think that's why even more than any one army, if I got to walk in with just a blank check for Games Workshop or Warhammer World, I would just get as many different wild kits with as many wild bits as possible, just to keep as many doors open as possible. Like that Kaldor Necromunda gang, I'm working on a couple cultists with that.
Yeah,
like I'm making an icon
even
one.
the Necromunda models are fantastic as well.
Yeah, there's so much great stuff. Like I'm just trying to think. Like I think the gamut of kinds of kits I've used for my things. We have the Poxwalkers, we have the Cultists, we have Demonettes, we have Bloodletters, we have Crypt Ghouls. It's just, if it's creepy and it looks ramshackle, you can make a Genestealer Cultist out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for example, we talked earlier about the level of detail on some of the smaller models, like the Neophytes, for example. And I mentioned Blood Reavers from Age of Sigmar for Khorne. Again, even stuff like that.
Oh, fantastic. They would also just so many different kinds. It's just, the sky's the limit when you have a horde of mutant alien hybrids.
Well, listen, thank you very, very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's been great.
Not a problem. And I look forward to seeing the rest of your conversions. Now, you have recently set up an Instagram page, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
So I will post the link in the description down below to Carl's Instagram page, because I'm sure you all want to see more work and more conversions. Honestly, Carl, this isn't me just saying this because you're here on the podcast, but your conversions are some of the best conversion works I've seen.
Oh my goodness, man!
Honestly, them Arborants out of this world, dude, and the sheer, I don't know what the word is, versatility and everything that you put into the Neophytes is just, it's out of this world.
Dude, thank you so much. It's beyond exciting just to be getting this kind of responses from people. It's just me doing it just on my own for fun, and it's grown into something that I just want to keep going. It's so cool. But yeah, guys, I'll have a new Instagram here set up. You guys can take a look at. I will actually also be posting a lot of the documentation of how I built the board. So if you want to kind of see how that got started, I'll be posting those pretty soon, and you can just kind of see the whole thing from just sketches in my notebook to the finished product.
Excellent stuff. Well, Carl, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And,
thank you again, Harry.
Not a problem. And thank you guys for listening. Tune in next time. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel for battle reports, painting tutorials, hobby hangouts, and everything as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.